much for coming. Okay. So my name's Ian Thompson. I do a lot of work with the university saying how can we change our approach to teaching and learning by using technology. And I work with ministries of education in Solomon Islands, Vanuatu, Kiribati, Samoa here. So advising them about how they might introduce technology as well. So one of the things that I've been very keen about is saying we need to have more learning books for children. And when I was researching this about how we could do that, how could we get more books out there, how could we get books in the mother tongue of the children, I came across this organisation called SIL. And I don't know whether you've heard of SIL before, but I'll let Koen talk a little bit about that. But when I got in touch with them and they started talking about what they are offering here in the way of making books in many languages, I got really excited. Koen came over here and he spent the first 2 days of this week we were in Tonga talking to the Institute of Education. So the Institute of Education publishes children's literacy books. So we went over there and talked for 2 days with them, and now we've come back here. We've been talking with UNICEF because they publish children's books. We've been talking with the School of Education here, the curriculum development people, the lecturers talking about this technology. And now we'd like to share this technology with you. The thing that impressed me most about this from an SIL point of view is they're saying you can have these tools for free. So if you know about open source, they're available for free for anyone to use. So we thought, well, we should invite anyone who wants to come along to listen to that as well. So without much further ado, Koen, I'd like to hand it over to you and say, this is Koen den Hartogh, yeah? And he's from SIL. He originally comes from the Netherlands, but he's been working in PNG for 11 years now. So he's still okay, just because he's been in PNG for 11 years, he's okay. So, okay, I'll hand it over to you. Thanks, Koen.
Thank you, Ian. And welcome everybody. My name is indeed Koen den Hartogh. I'm from the Netherlands, so I do have my own language. Dus ik wil jullie ook allemaal graag welkom heten in mijn eigen taal. Ik vind het echt verschrikkelijk leuk dat jullie hier allemaal gekomen zijn. Ik denk dat de meesten van jullie eigen taal ook nog wel spreken. Maar ja, alle talen in de wereld zijn anders. All that to say, yes, I'm a white skin, but my mother tongue is not English, right? A lot of people think that every white person speaks English. Well, the truth is very, very different. In Europe, we have many, many languages. My country by itself has 4 languages. And so I'm one of those people that really, really values his own language. That's why I'm involved in the work of literacy. That's why I joined SIL. I've been working on these literacy tools for mobile devices for the last 3 years, and I've pushed SIL International to actually create the tool that I'm going to show you tonight. So I'm going to start with a 4-minute video to give you a good overview of the tool that we're going to discuss, and then from there I'll pick it up again.
This video will provide you with an overview of Bloom, the award-winning, open-source, mother tongue book production tool from SIL International. This is the SIL Literacy Library in Papua New Guinea, where SIL collects all the known books for each language in the country. Each of these cubbyholes contains all the books for one language. Imagine if your language had so few books that all of them put together could fit in one of these squares. But it gets worse. Some unfortunate languages share their cubbyhole with a couple of other languages, or have no books at all. Now these aren't just extinct languages. Many are alive, with boys and girls speaking them as their mother tongue. But the traditional way of making books leaves them with this, the cubbyhole tragedy. We'd like to see all these children have at least 200 books to read in their own language. How are we going to get there? Not by working harder as outsiders, and not by waiting for community members to master all the complexity required by general purpose tools. Instead, by making book production so simple that if you can type, you can make books. This way, even low-tech community members can be quickly equipped to start growing their own libraries. That's why we built Bloom. So how does Bloom help us do that? First, it uses the proven shellbook approach. In Bloom, we can browse through shellbooks, choose one, and then use Make a Book using this source. Bloom makes a copy of the book and adds it to our collection of books. It then takes us into the Edit tab, where we can translate the book into the local language. The source text that comes with the shell appears in these yellow bubbles. This shellbook comes with both English and French source texts. These source texts are not shown on the pages right now, but to produce a bilingual book, it takes just 2 clicks to add one of the source languages onto the pages as well. By using the link Get More Sourcebooks at bloomlibrary.org, we can access all the shared Bloom shellbooks. The library supports various ways of filtering and searching for suitable shellbooks. When you have chosen one that you want to download, the website ensures that the book is downloaded directly into Bloom itself, ready to be used as a source. We don't have to do anything in the computer file system to make the new book work in Bloom. It just does. Remember that we want to nurture a culture of authorship in local communities, so Bloom isn't just about shellbooks. To help us create brand new books, Bloom has a variety of book templates. For most simple books, the basic book template is all we need. As with shellbooks, we select the book and use Make a Book using this source. Bloom adds a new book based on this template to our collection of books and opens it in the Edit tab. We get a new simple book that comes with a cover, title page and other front and back matter pages ready to fill in, but no content pages yet. Notice the yellow bubbles that explain what each special box is for. So how do we add new pages? Click Add Page and then select the page layout that we want to use. Click Add this page and Bloom adds the new page to our book and we can start typing. This makes it really easy to use a variety of layouts without having to spend any time on setting up the page layouts yourself. Advanced users can adjust the layout if they wish to, or even design their own layout. Now let's look at how Bloom handles pictures. Picture slots are shown with this flower placeholder. When you move the mouse over the picture, this button is displayed. Click it to bring up the image toolbox. The Art of Reading gallery is a collection of free pictures. If we type cat, we can choose from a list of cat pictures. We can even search for pictures using different languages. This search is for dog using French. Notice in the area on the right, we see both the copyright and the license for the selected image. All Art of Reading pictures have this nice Creative Commons license, which allows us to use them. In addition to the gallery, you can get images from a scanner, camera, or elsewhere on your computer. When you use your own images, you too can enter the copyright and license information, and Bloom will embed that information in a standard way into the image file. This is a lifesaver later when someone is verifying that the images are being used legally. When we use OK to add a picture to a book, Bloom automatically centers and expands the image to fit the allotted space on the page.
Okay, yeah. I think you now all have an idea what Bloom is about. It was developed to, let me get that a little softer. It was developed to actually bring book publishing to really low literate computer users. And so in that way you can actually empower the teachers at the really low level to start producing books. And I looked at it and I thought, okay, that's a cool idea. But remember, we're living in 2017. Look around you and what are people doing with books? Yeah, they read them. But What else is so new about today? Everybody has phones. A lot of people have tablets. So I thought, if this is such a cool book production tool, wouldn't it be nice that those books can be pushed out into a nice PDF format so that you can actually print them? But how about going EPUB or going Android app? So I'm going to go into the tool, and I will personally guide you through a few of the really, really fun things about Bloom. So let me fire up Bloom here. Bloom is sensing whether it's connected to the internet or not, and that it actually can download new books. So I have made a few standard books that I would like to work on. So this is Chicken and Millipede in the Tok Pisin language of Papua New Guinea. I can choose from a variety of source text, and I can choose to make a book having English and Tok Pisin for Papua New Guinea, or English and your language. So as soon as you're done doing the translation, you just click on the Publish tab. In there, you can say, I want a simple book so that I'm just going to print everything on a single page. Most people, especially teachers, want a real cover of thicker paper. So then Bloom is going to take that as a separate PDF file for you, and the booklet insides is going to be printed on normal paper, so you get a separate PDF for that. All of that with the click of a button. So what we added a year ago is the function to publish it as an EPUB thing. EPUB was always a book in text on a Kindle or an e-reader, but there is a new standard in EPUB which is called EPUB 3. EPUB 3 does text and audio, and that will then be able to go on your phone, and then you will have a book becoming a talking book. If you want to share your book with the world, you just click upload and it will automatically upload in bloomlibrary.org. That's the only website you have to remember after this session. Bloomlibrary.org gives you all the tools, free, open source. It gives you all the instruction videos. And so it was meant to be taught in the morning to local people at the bush level. So it means that we really don't even have to do a course, because if you watch a few movies, you're done. So as soon as you're done with your book, you can then say, let's save this book as a PDF. If I click my cover, it's going to display my cover. It's making the PDF in a few seconds. And then I only have to click Save PDF. And this is going to be my front and my back cover. Okay, I'm going to go back to the Edit tab, because we were interested in talking books. As you can see, my computer is picking up a mic. And what I can do is I can click on the text, and then I can start speaking this sentence, and then I can check, I can go to the next part, I can go back if I want to edit something, and the whole thing is being recorded in Bloom without you having to touch any audio source. What do you do when you get done? It depends on what you want. If you want an EPUB that you can read in a general EPUB reader, you're done after Bloom is done. You have the EPUB in your hand, you can start sharing it. What I'm particularly fond of is another tool called Reading App Builder, and I'm going to show it on my tablet. So give me a second so that I can actually display that one. Okay, so what happened? I have a tablet in my hand. The tablet is connected through Wi-Fi into a wireless router. The wireless router is connected to my laptop, and so I can actually display my tablet on the screen. This is a sort of approach that I'm hoping to launch in a lot of classrooms in the Pacific. If we have a tablet, a wireless router, and one of those really, really cheap LED projectors, we can have a solar solution allowing teachers to actually use any kind of app in the classroom. Okay, I'm going to start up the app that we've made through the source in Bloom. Okay, the app is launching. I get to see a number of bookshelves. If you are using the software, you can choose whatever bookshelf you want to make, how many bookshelves you want to make, and then on those bookshelves, whatever you want to put in. So if you are excited about history and you want to produce a lot of history books, you go onto Wikipedia, download some information, put it in a book format, and then add it to this library. So here's a bunch of books on animals. The images and the text is straight from Wikipedia. I just swipe through the book and I can start reading it. If you want stories in your home language, you can add them. You type them up in Bloom, and the really amazing thing is that you can then sync the audio automatically with the text. So I'm going to try to play this for you.
Tokioki matoko komo. Lokon tikwe wanen Tokioki matoko komo tohu hukuma lili lemau. Lalu lawan solian wanen. Ate solmanihu la lawan solian. Main tehu la tohe kakak salet tehu hahaloko wasolet tekaman.
Okay, I guess we all admit that Papua New Guinea has a few really beautiful languages, right? This sounded really nice. I also like the way they write the language. No funny symbols, pretty straightforward. Let me show you a book in English.
Chicken and Millipede. Chicken and Millipede were friends, but they were always competing with each other. One day, they decided to play football to see who was the best player. They went to the football field and started their game. Chicken was fast, but Millipede was faster. Chicken kicked far, but Millipede kicked further. Chicken started to feel grumpy.
Okay, then the story is continuing. They're going to continue their game. Millipede is winning. Chicken gets really cross up to the point where Chicken decides, I'm going to eat you, Millipede. And he walks home pretty satisfied, but then he meets the mother of the Millipede.
As Chicken was walking home, she met Mother Millipede. Mother Millipede asked, "Have you seen my child?" Chicken didn't say anything. Mother Millipede was worried. Then Mother Millipede heard a tiny voice. "Help me, Mum," cried the voice. Mother Millipede looked around and listened carefully. The voice came from inside the chicken. Mother Millipede shouted, "Use your special gift, my child. Millipedes can make a bad smell and a terrible taste." Chicken began to feel ill. Then she swallowed and spat. Then she sneezed and coughed and coughed. The Millipede was disgusting. Chicken coughed until she coughed out the Millipede in her stomach. Mother Millipede and her child crawled up a tree to hide. From that time, chickens and millipedes were enemies.
Okay, that's the story of the Chicken and Millipede. I think it's a really fun story. If you would like to print this in color, and you would have a language group of some 500 people, and you would like to print it in color for 150 children, those books would probably cost you $15 a piece or more. If you bring it to them in this way, everybody can have it on their phone for free, plus they can listen to a really good pronunciation of the book. I'm going to show you one more feature, and then you probably have an idea what this thingy is capable of doing. I've added a feature that SIL isn't supporting yet, but I'm really trying to push them to add this to it. Here is a book on elephants.
An adult African elephant's trunk is about 2 meters long. It's actually an elongated nose and upper lip. Like most noses.
Wait. Elongated? I know, I'm in a pretty highly educated crowd now. Anybody clear about the meaning of elongated? I don't meet English people using that word. Those are the book words, right? So then, me too, growing up in the Netherlands, I'm reading a book, I come across a difficult word. All right, I have to get out my dictionary, look it up. It's annoying. So in this software, I would really like to see something like this. You have the word elongated, you don't know what it means, so you click the letter A. And there it is. It's an adjective. It means extended or lengthened. Okay, in 1 second, I know what the story is about and I can continue. Okay, that's enough on the actual product. I deliberately called it my talking library because this is my example of the library I want to build, but that's not the point. The point is that I have a tool for you to build your talking library. If you want to publish an app with serious books, and it doesn't matter what kind of topic, maybe UNESCO wants to build an app with books on agriculture, okay? They can then use our software and build their talking library. So let me demonstrate the software really quickly for you. You can go the Bloom route, but if you don't want the Bloom route because you're fond of Word, you make the book this way. See that? It's seriously what we all do almost every day. Here is my Word book. Pictures, text on every page. Okay? That's where I started. You can go the Bloom route if you want to, especially if you're a literacy specialist. You probably want to use Bloom, especially if you're interested in print. You really want to go the Bloom route. If you're only interested in audiobooks for the mobile phone, you might as well go straight into Word. What are we going to do with this Word file? We're going to fire up the software Reading App Builder. Reading App Builder launches, and I get a somewhat technical but actually wizard-oriented piece of software. I want to build a new app. So all of a sudden you're now an Android app developer. Well, Google controls the Android market, as you probably all know, so you have to comply to their rules. I want to start an app, so I better come up with a name. I would like to do an agriculture app. And so I'm not wanting to spend the time on figuring out a nice name, so I just call it agriculture. I'm going to go next. I have to come up with a serious name because this is going to be the URL in the Google Play Store. If I'm done and I want to push it to the Google Play Store, I have to comply to Google's rules. So I have to say that I'm an organization. My organization is called USP. My app name is agriculture. And the language that I'm working is in English. Okay? Now I'm going to add my book. I didn't bring an agriculture book with me, so I'm going to make up a book. And I will put this book as my so-called agriculture book. Right? You can all imagine that I'm going to put different text and pictures in. So I'm going to choose the Chicken and Millipede as one of the books in this app. I hit open, it's being added, and I click next. I get the chance to choose a font. Well, doesn't matter, you can choose this afterwards anyway. I don't know if you're familiar with Grandroid. Google adds Grandroid capability to all of the Android devices. What it's meant for is for the really special fonts. Hindi, Arabic, Hebrew, reading from right to left instead of left to right, all that really highly rich fonts, you need the Grandroid rendering software for that. For the Pacific, I don't really think there's any language that needs it, so I'm going to skip it. I'm going to choose a color for my title bar. I'm going to choose an icon. You can choose whatever icon you want. You can build your own. I'm going to go fast. Here is Reading App Builder telling you, you are building an app. Did you think about your copyright information? Your text has to have copyright. Belongs to somebody. Does it belong to you? Fill it in. Your audio has to have a separate copyright. Fill it in. Your illustrations have a copyright. Fill it in. I'm going to skip it. And then, if you are the copyright holder, you need to license it. Licensing tells the user, okay, the owner says this to me. I can do this with it. Maybe I can share it again, but I cannot make any changes to it. Or maybe I can share it again, but I cannot sell it. So all of that stuff needs to go here. And if you are publishing, you really need to be aware of this, because many organizations, NGOs, have been publishing books, didn't really pay attention to this, and then saw other NGOs taking their stuff, which wasn't so bad after all, but the fact that they then put the right copyright information on it meant that the original producer of the books couldn't access their own materials anymore. It happened to us in SAL. It's crazy but true. Then, in the Android world, every app has to have a key store and a password. So I created my key store already. If you don't have your key store, you follow the create new key store wizard. You have to have a password with that. I'm going to look it up. In my key store folder, I have my passwords. And it's this one. Back to my software, and I will paste it, and I'll use the same password again, because I don't like using many passwords. Do I want a product description? No thanks. Okay, this took us 2 minutes, 3 minutes. The app is done. Okay? Then you have a choice. Do you want to add audio to this? You then go into your book, and you have an audio files tab right there, and you can start adding an audio file to your book. I stored it on my desktop, chickenandmillipede.mp3. I think all of you are very, very capable of producing an MP3 file. If you don't, download Audacity from the web. Don't forget your lame plugin, and everybody can create MP3 files for free. So, the book is ready. The audio is attached. The only thing I want to do is get the two synchronized. I want, when the voice is speaking the first part of sentence 1, I want the first part of sentence 1 to be highlighted. There is a highly sophisticated tool for that. It's called Aeneas. SAL developed it together with Read Beyond. They are the world leader in EPUB 3 production. Lots of engineers from Italy, Turkey, and everybody came together and produced this tool. I'm not going to run through it. You have to believe that this is a 1-minute process. So I'm going to hit Save All, and then I'm going to hit Build Android App. The engine is starting. It looks a little bit weird. Doesn't matter. I drive a car. I steer, I shift, I brake. I don't know what's happening under the hood. I don't want to know. I just want to go from USB to the cafe, right? In my message, I see the signed release APK built successfully, which means that my APK has now been signed by Google with the official OK. I can start sharing it from phone to phone. I can push it to the Google Play Store. I can do whatever I want with it. As you all know, I didn't fill in the copyright information. Don't repeat after me. Don't do that at home. But this is where it all leads to. The app stores, the software stores the app in my documents, in the app building folder, in my reading apps, in my APK output. I find my agriculture APK. Okay, that's it. It was a very, very simple process. You want an app with multiple books? Well, you just repeat what we did. Are there any questions? Where do I get the software? Okay, if you're interested in getting Bloom, being able to create really good literacy software, go to bloomlibrary.org. If you say, you know what, I'm not really interested in the literacy, I'm really interested in the e-books only, go and Google Reading App Builder SIL. On the website, you download all the tools, you download all the manuals, all the stuff is available in USB. Also, because I brought it on a memory stick, but you guys have beautiful internet so you can get all the files you want. It does mean that you have to install the Java development kit, which is a very simple executable. You just run it, it's done. The Android development kit is a little bit more difficult. The manual will talk you through it. As soon as that's done, you throw your Reading App Builder software on, and that's a next. You're done. And then you repeat after me. We are thinking of hosting a workshop in Suva, maybe in the future, especially for organizations like UNICEF, maybe even for USB lectures, to really know the software in and out. There's really not much to learn about the software. It's more like, what is it that Google demands from their developers? Their Android Development Studio is quite complicated, but as soon as you have it installed, you never look at it again. It's the same as with the hood in your car. You don't open it up unless your car breaks. And if you guys have a beautiful IT department, they will do the support for you. All right. That's it for me. Thank you very much for your attention. If there are any questions, please go ahead. Okay, maybe one last thing for me then. I have the wireless router here. If you have never seen them, they beam a wireless signal into this room. It's an open wireless signal, you don't have to have a password. And what it does, it gives you access to my flash drive. So instead of me going to your phone and trying to give you a file, you just log into him and you get a nice website and you can download the app that I just demonstrated. In this case, it's not of much value because all of you can go to the Google Play Store, and in the Google Play Store you just type in My Talking Library and you will download to your phone. Yes?
With My Talking Library, can you add your own gallery of pictures if you wanted to?
Can you repeat the question?
With My Talking Library, can you add your own gallery of pictures?
You can create any book you want. So if you want to go around with your smartphone and you want to snap pictures of the USB campus, you put the library of the USB campus on page 1 of your Word file. You write a little story, the next picture, the next picture, the next picture, push that Word file into Reading App Builder, and you will build any book you want. You then record your content, the text. You get the two together, you're done. right. I'll give it over to you.
So, I have a question for you. When are we going to see your first book? I gather you came here because you're interested in writing a book, making a book. I'd love to see some Pacific Island books. We don't have enough of them. I'd love to see them in the languages of the Pacific Islands. I don't want to see a book from Australia that's translated to Fijian. I want to see a Fijian book. Very contextually oriented about life in Fiji. I think it's a terrible thing that we do to our children when we give them an Australian book and say, here, read this. It doesn't mean anything to them. How silly is that? Anyway, that's my plea to you, is please start making books. Just one thing I think I was going to make a couple of plugs about. When you make a book, put it in Bloom, because in there we'll be able to see it and other people will be able to get it and share it and adapt it and work on it too. If you're making an app book, put it in Google. Because in Google Play, you can then do Android analytics of it and see how many people are reading it, how many people are downloading it, how many people are sharing it. Follow its progress. Just get the information that Google will tell you about how many people have actually read it, how long they read it for, how many people have shared it to other phones, what those people did with it. So there's some really interesting tracking information there to see what's happening with your book. Okay, so the final thing that I have to say is thank you very much for coming along. I hope it's been interesting. I was rather blown away by this sort of stuff. I really love that app. Like, just Word, and then you push it, sync it. Fantastic. Thanks for coming along. We've got some refreshments out there now. Koen and I will be there for a while if you want to have a chat with us, if you want to talk about a few issues or things like that. My final word to you is to say, go make some books. Thank you very much for coming.